4C5, these questions are a bit trickier. I'm going to do question 3. So the quadratic equation is ax squared minus 6x plus a minus 2. All right. And I've written that on the other. I've written that up the top. One root is double the other. Now they give you the hint here. They tell you how to write out the roots as alpha and 2 alpha. But that should be obvious if one root is double the other, right? Find a and the 2 roots. Okay. So when we're doing these questions, the sum and product works nicely as a way to simplify these questions. Right. So when we have a quadratic equal to 0, right, we can assume that there will be some roots. The question tells us there will be. And we then know that the sum of the roots is minus b on a, and we've derived that in class. The product of the roots, alpha times beta, is c divided by a. All right. Now, if you know something about the roots, it's going to simplify things. So instead of doing alpha plus beta, I could say, therefore, let roots be alpha and 2 alpha. And just a reminder, what we mean by roots is the solutions to this equation. So if I took alpha and I put it into this equation where x is, I get the answer 0. Or if I put 2 alpha, whatever alpha works out to be, I put it in here, I get 0. All right? And in class, I've also been trying to link that to the factorized form of the quadratic as well, because in the factorized form of the quadratic, you can see the solution so easily, right? So there's my one root, and there's my second one. Right? Anyway, the procedure here is really to find what a is first, and then once we know a, we could just solve the quadratic, and we get the roots, right? That's the general idea that I'd like you to have, although the different questions, sometimes they turn out that there's some shortcuts and you don't, so we'll just see where the question leads. But what we do know is that alpha plus 2 alpha, that's the sum, has to equal 6 on the a term, which is a, right? Just remember your sum is minus b on a, not b on a. So you're going to have to do, so what you should know is that with a quadratic you're looking at an x squared term minus the sum of roots x plus whatever number the product of roots is. Product of roots. Right? And that's your quadratic, right? Okay. And what would these 2 roots be as a product? It would be alpha times 2 alpha. So that's 2 alpha squared. Has to equal the c term, right? This whole thing here is a constant, right? So it's the a and the minus 2. That's the c term divided by a. All right. This first equation, if I've got 3 alpha equals 6 on a, I can make some progress with that. I can find out that alpha would have to equal 2 divide a. Right? So I could divide both sides by 3 there. I'd have 6 divide 3a, and 6 divide 3 is 2. Right? So I'm going to tidy that up. I just need to So it follows, my arrows mean it follows that. It follows that an alpha worked out to be a 2 on alpha. Right. And you'd want to show the working out, but, sorry, 2 on A, not 2 on alpha. An alpha, which is the root, will equal a 2 divide A. You want to show the working out, but I'm a bit short on space. Right. I'm going to call that equation 1 and call this equation 2. And then I'm going to substitute 1 into 2. And then I should be able to solve for A, because I'll just be left with A's. Right. So where we had alpha, we will now have 2 on A. Right. Going to have to write that again. So it'll be 2 on A squared. All right, alpha is now 2 on A, and that equals A minus 2 divide A. All right. Now if you squared all this, I don't have a lot of room, but I'll do it over here. You'll get 4 on A squared. You're then going to times that by 2, right? Times by 2. So you're going to get 8 on A squared, right? So this will simplify to 8 on A squared equals A minus 2 on A. I really want to multiply both sides by A here, but maybe I won't. I'll just, normally when you've got a fraction equals a fraction, you could do this cross multiplying, right? So you times both sides by B, right? You'll get to here, and you times both sides by D, and now you don't have fractions anymore, right? So effectively that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. Right? That's what I call cross multiplying. So how about we do that move, because I want you to know that one. So 8A equals A squared times A minus 2, but let's, given that A is just a number, let's divide by A, and we'll just say 8 equals A minus 2. We'll expand this out. We're going to get A squared minus 2A over here, and then if we minus this positive 8, right, minus 8, and it has to equal 0. And I can solve this and figure out what A is, although there are going to be two answers. So if I factorize it, product and sum, again, slightly different context, I will find that A equals minus 2 and 4, right? And so actually we would have to consider two quadratics. Right? What it means is there's two values of A for this particular quadratic that will result in roots where one root is double the other root. So, two quadratics. Right, we've got the first one where A equals, let's use the positive value 4. When A equals 4, we'd have 4x squared. And I should write that actually. I should say, when A equals 4, it follows that our quadratic is 4x squared minus 6x, that will always be 6x, and then we'll have plus 4 minus 2 is 2. Now that's something you can solve. 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. This will factorize. How will it factor? Could try AC method. You could use quadratic formula. You could use your app on your calculator. Just thinking by inspection here. We've got to have minuses, and that's got to be a 1. I'll just double check the 2x times x is 2x squared. We get a minus 2x. We get a minus x is minus. Yep, so that's right. And so therefore, the roots are 1. Right, I'm getting that from here. If x equals 1, all right, that's the solution. That's the root to this quadratic. Or if this equals 0, how could I make this equal 0 if x is a half? And can you see that one root is double the other root? Right? The 1 is double the half. Right? When a equals, what was the other solution? Minus 2. Right? Minus 2. It follows that the quadratic is minus 2x squared minus 6x. And then we've got plus minus 2 minus 2. So that's plus minus 4, which is just minus 4, equals 0. I'm going to come through and divide everywhere by minus 2 to make this a bit simpler. So I'll get x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0. I can factorize this. X plus 2, x plus 1, and make sure you actually answer the question and find those roots. The roots would be x equals minus 1 and minus 2. All right? So now we know what those roots are. I'm just connecting the dots there. These solutions, all right, this is your alpha, and that's your 2 alpha. Right? Remember, at the start of the question, we called the roots alphas because we didn't know what they were. And here, this is an alpha, and this would be your 2 alpha. Right? Now, if you get a quadratic that's not easily factorizable, just go to quadratic formula. All right? So, not too tricky, hopefully.